Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Today we're going to work on SaturnCI as we have been in the last whole bunch of sessions. And Sanjit, you had a good idea for me to kind of explain what SaturnCI is all about in case anybody's just tuning in. So I'll share my screen and try to kind of explain it. So first of all, what is this project and what was the impetus for it? Um, I've used CI platforms, continuous integration platforms, quite a bit over the last 10 years or so, CircleCI and GitHub Actions. And I find them a bit lacking in certain ways, specifically the UI. Um, First of all, if you don't know what a CI platform is, it's basically a platform to run your tests in the cloud. It's more than that. That's a very approximate definition, but you can think of it like that for our purposes. And there's certain things that I find a bit lacking in these other platforms. For example, I'll show you here because SaturnCI, my CI platform I'm building, has a similar weakness. You see this failed run right here. If I go to this failed run, what I am obviously interested in is what failed. I want to see what failed so I can address it. But I don't immediately see that. I have to click on this, and I do see this red here, does not show the system log content. Then I have to scroll all the way down, and it's just a little more annoying than it has to be. It's like, you're the computer. How about you do the work that you can do to make my life easier? I shouldn't be doing the work that a computer can do. And it's even worse, like if, for example, the failure were on a different tab or something like that, I'd have to go there and then scroll down. So just stuff like that, like things that I think, things that seem like they should obviously work a certain way don't. So that's kind of my frustration with the other platforms and why I'm motivated to build my own. Sanjeev, before I continue, anything you think I should cover that I haven't so far?
Um, Maybe a bit more, the technology that is behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is a Rails app, and in order to run the tests, um, I'm making use of the cloud. Each time a test runs, I'll give kind of a simplified definition or a simplified explanation first. So each time a test run runs, it spins up a new virtual machine, and then it checks out my project from GitHub, and then it runs my test suite on that virtual machine, and then it kills that virtual machine. That is a little bit approximate because in reality, there's not just one virtual machine. There are multiple because these jobs run in parallel. Some places have like 10,000 tests or something like that. You don't want to run them serially, you want to run them in parallel. So, if you have two parallel jobs, you can have each job running 5,000 tests instead of one job running 10,000, or you could have 10 of them running 1,000 each, and obviously it'll finish way faster. So that's what's happening here. I happen to have two jobs, and so there's two virtual machines that run. Is that kind of what you were speaking to, Sanjeet?
Yeah, yeah. And also, you use Docker behind the scenes, right?
Yes. Um, I use Docker because for anybody who uses this platform, I have to get their project up and running somehow. And I figured the easiest way to do that was to package up their projects in Docker, or rather to have you, the user, package up your project in Docker. Um, and then on the virtual machine, it uses Docker to say, run this test suite. And that way, all the dependencies for the project are just packaged up, like the database and stuff like that. I don't have to manually install a bunch of stuff, or I don't have to have a script to install a bunch of stuff on the virtual machine. It's all just packaged up in the Docker environment.
Yep. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we now with Saturn CI? The most recent like big feature that I've been working on is what I call log streaming, and I just hit this rerun button to get a new test run going. The log streaming is the feature where as the tests run, you see the test output appear on the screen in real time. Same with the system logs from the machine. As the machine runs, we want to be able to see the output in real time so we get faster feedback and we don't have to wait until the whole test suite finished. And as I've been doing that, there's been various bugs and stuff like that naturally. Um, and I want to look at where I most recently left off because I only work on SaturnCI during these sessions, and there's enough time between sessions for me to usually forget what I was working on last. So I'm looking at my Git state here. And apparently the last thing I worked on was this test called visiting different job. So let's take a look at that and see what that's all about. And I'm also going to check my Git log. Okay, I split the system logs test into multiple tests, fixed test descriptions. That was just a cleaning up of some labeling and stuff. Okay, let's take a look at this test. I'm going to run this to see what happens. Okay, and here's a test of my test writing. Is this test going to make sense? Okay, so visiting different job. Okay, this is kind of repetitive, but context, visiting a different job. After log update occurs, it does not show original jobs system logs. Okay. Yeah, this is actually reminding me. So we had a bug that you probably remember, Sanjit, where we could look at the logs for one test run, a test run that was currently running. And as you can see, these logs are coming through here. And then you could go to a different a different build, and you would see the logs for the active build streaming in a build that had already completed,
Yep.
which obviously doesn't make any sense. So that's the bug that we had fixed. But now we're having a bug where I believe it like doesn't really know the difference between one tab and the other tab. And so we were seeing a similar bug here, although I'm not seeing that exact bug right here. Maybe it was happening in the test output. I'm not seeing it here, but that's fine because we can still write this test that asserts that when you're on job one and then you go to job two, you don't see the job one output. That's still a valid thing to assert. So I'll continue with this. Okay. So let me see if I can interpret this test. We're creating a job and then we're visiting a different job. You can see it's called other job here. And then we have a log update on, let's see, we have a log update happening on the original job, and we're asserting that when we go to the other job, it doesn't show the original job's system logs. And unfortunately, I don't remember if this test is Complete. Okay. Let me look at one of the other system logs tests. I'm going to have to go like this. Okay. So I have the following tests: staying on system log tab, visiting different build, visiting a different job, and visiting different tab. Okay. Um, let's look at visiting different build because I think that's going to be the most similar. Okay. So it looks extremely similar because I probably copy pasted one to the other. Okay. So this is the test for visiting a different build. Let's interpret this one. So this could be a sign that maybe this needs to be made clearer. Um, we visit the original job and we expect original system log content just to prevent a race condition. And then we visit this, but what is this link? It's not clear, huh? So maybe we can do something to make this more clear. Oh, I think I can tell what it is. It's it's a link for a build. Okay. So maybe let's do something like this. I'm going to imagine something here. Um, maybe say build nav dot, no. Hmm. Yeah, maybe build nav dot click build link other job dot build ID. Okay, and the idea here, actually, whoops. Okay, so the idea here is that we would have a page object called build nav, and we could say click build link and go to this other build. But I'm not sure if that's clear. What do you think, Sanjeet?
Yeah, I'm also slightly confused there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe that's not a big improvement. Hmm. Well, I'm not sure what to do. So because I'm not sure what to do, I won't make any changes yet. Hopefully some improvement will become clear to me
Yeah,
later.
sweet.
But I at least figured out that that is one of these build links. Okay, and then we're clicking on system logs. Okay. Okay, so I think on this other test, after after we click system logs, it's going to naturally be on job 1. So I want to click on job 2. Let's see. But what is the logic of this test even? So what does after log update occurs mean exactly? I'm sure this can be made more clear somehow. All right, we visit the job path. We click, we visit system logs. Then we click on a different build. Then we click on system logs there. And then we allow this log update to happen. This could maybe be abstracted because this is kind of noisy. When you look at this, you're like, what is this? It's not quite easy to tell what it is. So maybe we can start with that. Okay, so what is this? This is a request that simulates the request we would get from the virtual machine that's running the build, that's running the job. Okay, so it's for this job specifically. We're getting a system log update. So it's like, it's probably take me a few tries, but it's like send system log content to job. I don't love that, but that's my first thought. Hmm. It's like, okay, alternatively, we could have this idea of this virtual machine. The term I've been using is job machine. So it's like the job machine sends a request um, to, well, hang on a second. Yeah, it's like the job machine, or like fake job machine, is sending a request to the application that's running on our test server. Hmm. Thinking. Or we could say it from the other perspective, like our test application is receiving a request that updates the system log content for that job. Hmm. Okay, here's another idea. System log HTTP request job body new system log content. I maybe like that better than this, so I'll get rid of that. Because we do want to see the log content that we're sending, but it doesn't seem like we should have to care about the API authorization headers, this big noisy path and stuff. Hmm. Yeah, let's try this, at least for a moment. So I'm just going to move this. Its ultimate home might be somewhere else, but we can put it here just during this time when we're testing it out. Okay, and I think that's all we need. So I'm going to run this and see what happens. Okay. So hopefully, Sanjit, that makes this a tiny bit clearer.
Yeah, definitely, more readable than before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And since we're gonna always need this, I think I'm gonna put it in here. There's pros and cons of doing that, but I think I prefer to put that there. Okay, now we don't have to care about that incidental detail that it's sleeping. It does hide the sleep from us, which is that has a cost to hide it. but I think I am happy with the trade-off of not having to deal with the sleep here. Okay, I'm just going to run that again. Okay, I'm going to go back up to the top here. Visiting a different build. Visiting a different build after log update occurs, it does not show original job system logs. Something this test is missing is like, why are we even testing this thing? Might be a little unclear. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything to address that right now. I'm just making a mental note. Something I've found in a lot of projects, Sanjit, is that maybe they have tests, but the tests aren't very easy to understand. And so the tests aren't very easy to work with. And
Yeah,
so that's part
test
of why
should
I'm, what's
almost be
that?
like documentation, isn't it? Tests, should almost be
Yeah.
like very clear and yeah, explain what it is trying to say, or do.
Yeah, exactly. And people take pains to try to make sure that their application code is easy to understand, but I often find there's less emphasis on making the tests easy to understand. But I think it's really valuable for your test to be understandable because your tests, I think of tests as executable specifications. Um,
Yep.
and so the specifications for your application could be uh, um, your specifications benefit from being clear because what's more important in your application than the specifications for its behavior? So I do want to try to make this clearer. Um, okay, let's focus on this part again because this is kind of the noisiest and hardest to understand, I think. Okay, so that did pass. So first we're visiting the original job. First we're visiting the original job. Yes. And you know what? Maybe it could be clearer if instead of calling this job, we call it original job. That way it matches the language everywhere else. Whoops. Okay. Because we do have the word job repeated in a whole bunch of places here. So if we just call this value job, then it's kind of hard to tell the difference between the places where job just appears because that's one of the terms we're dealing with here, and this specific job. So now that it's called original job, it's a little bit easier to see where we're dealing with this original job, and it gives a little more meaning to it. It's like, what job is this? This is the original job. It's not the other job that we created, it's the original job. Okay, so we're visiting this original job, and then we visit a different build. Okay, so first we visit the system logs tab. Okay, let's do this. Let's write some comments. It's like visit system logs tab for original job. Visit system logs tab for other job. Expect that other job, other jobs tab doesn't contain original jobs system logs. And I'll say this, other jobs system logs tab. Okay, so this is the essence of our test basically. Visit system logs tab for original tab, visit system logs tab for other job, and expect that other jobs system logs tab doesn't contain original job system logs. So that's what the test is. But right now, this is so noisy that it's really hard to infer this from this. It's I imagine you agree with that statement, Sanjit.
Yeah, yeah. The bit that is clear up there is what we have put in the hash, So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, so my question to myself now is how can we replace this with something more like this
yeah,
without just resorting to putting comments here because comments can get out of sync with the actual code and it's better if the code itself is just understandable. Okay, I'm just gonna mess around and do some stuff here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, Visit system logs tab, job, original job. Oh, and there's a very significant part that I left out. Um, Allow original job to receive system log update. That's quite significant. Okay, visit system logs tab for original job, visit system logs tab. You know what? I'm going to be even more precise here. I'm going to say navigate to. Oops. So we're not directly visiting that URL. We're
yeah.
clicking around and navigating because that's the only way to reproduce the bug. Visit System Logs tab for original tab, navigate to System Logs tab for other tab, allow original job to receive system log update, expect that other job system logs tab doesn't contain original job system logs. Okay, that's interesting because that still doesn't fully explain why we're even testing this behavior, but it does make it a little bit more clear what the
What we are trying to
scenario
do.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay. Hmm. And I'll just do this. Oh wait, I have this thing here. Yeah. Okay. And then we have that expectation. Okay. So I could just do this. I could define each of these methods. None of these methods exists yet, except this one here. Um, so I could do that, and I could decide that that's good enough. And in fact, maybe I will. I'm not going to rule that out, but I want to explore a little bit further and um, see if we can do any better. Okay. So this is actually fairly clear where we're visiting the system logs tab for the original job, or maybe it's not. We see this, but like nothing tells us that that's a tab. Hmm. Visit system logs tab. It's like, what are we doing here? We are, wow, crazy that that took 9 minutes, by the way. We are visiting, okay, we're visiting the system logs tab for a certain job. Hmm. Okay. Maybe we could have a method that gives us the path for I'm having a hard time articulating this. But it's like tab path, or maybe build tab path tab, system logs, job, original job. I don't like this wording. Okay. Visit tab path, tab system logs, job, original job. Not sure how I feel about that. Any feeling from your end, Sanjit?
I don't know. I was not very happy with the function names, Perhaps, that's the only thought I had.
Sorry, say that again.
The names that we have given for the methods, sort of
Mm-hmm.
visit tab path, visit job path, that type of thing, So uh, maybe renaming them to be a bit clearer.
Yeah, I'm finding it not easy to figure out
Understand
a
what's
clear
trying to
name.
do, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's keep thinking.
Yeah.
So we're visiting the system logs tab, or we could even do something like this. Visit tab, system logs, job, original job. I don't hate that. How do you feel about that one, Sanjit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do this. I'm going to comment this for a minute. Whoops. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and define a method called visit tab. Again, this won't be the ultimate home for this, but I'm just messing around right now. Um, tab, slug, and job. Um, Oops. Yeah. Oh, but then we do need this race condition thing. Maybe I'll even put that outside. I don't like to have that noise there. Um, but I can't immediately think of a better way around it. All right. Now, well, before anything else, let me run this and see if it still runs or if I made any mistakes. Okay, appears to still work. So here, we want to navigate to this other tab. So the first thing, this feels kind of dumb, but navigate to tab, system logs, job, other job. The thing that I maybe don't love about that is, well, I'll explain it like this. Okay, so I'll take this and put it all in here. Okay. And I feel like this has done its job. I can get rid of that. So now we have visit tab, system logs, navigate to tab, system logs for the other job. And then we do this HTTP request. I feel like that's a lot better. Let me see if
Yep.
this runs, and then I'll explain what I'm not quite happy with here. Um, when you put something in a method, it can either provide a helpful abstraction or it can provide a harmful obfuscation. This visit tab method, I feel like that provides a helpful abstraction. Navigate to tab, I think, provides a helpful abstraction, but maybe also a harmful obfuscation too, because, excuse me, it might be a little bit surprising if you go to navigate to tab and you discover that before it clicks on this system log tab, it clicks on this build tab. So what if we do this? Okay, what do we need? We need the build ID. Actually let's say build. And here we can say build.id. Okay. So here we can say navigate to build other job.build. Oops. Yeah, and I'm doing build and not build ID so that it's kind of consistent with the fact that we're passing a job here. And I think we can actually just go with a positional argument there. Okay. Okay. Before we go any further, let me see if that runs. Okay. So let's review this. We're visiting that tab. We're navigating to the other jobs build. Then we're navigating to the other jobs tab. And then we're making the request to update the system logs. Okay. I feel like this is at least better than it was, but there's an unresolved issue here where there's these race condition values here hard coded, and I don't like that. So again, I'm going to do what I did before and just put them back in line. Okay. But then as we can see, it makes this test noisy again. So maybe there's some way that we can cut down on the noise.
Oh, sure.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was thinking, should we try to get it to work as we expect it to work and then possibly reduce the noise? I don't know,
Well,
just a
it is
thought.
working.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we're ready to go ahead and try to reduce the noise. Let's see, the specific content that we're asserting for here, it's kind of an incidental detail. So maybe we could hide that in some way. Let's see, other job system logs. Where's that coming from? It's this job system logs content. Well, we could do this. And then actually we could put that in the navigate to tab method. And we do the same thing with navigate to build. But the fact that it's expecting 2 is an incidental detail because the only reason it's 2 and not some other number is because we happen to have 2 jobs.
Is there a possibility of the job number changing in the future?
In theory, yes.
Maybe
Okay.
we'll worry about it when we get there. Yeah. Okay.
So when the reason we're doing this is to be sure that the build we clicked on is now the build that we're looking at. Maybe we could do that in a different way. It doesn't have to have this count. So let's see, when we go to a different build, what does it show us that's unique? That's the trouble, is I don't know that it does show us anything that's unique. Actually, maybe we can go by this. Commit : commit. Okay, let's do this. Oops. And that's the commit hash of, well, I don't know where that actually gets that from. Oh, it's on the build. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's see. Oh, okay. Apparently it does. Okay. And then this, instead of hard coding original system log content, we can say um, original job dot system logs. Okay. And now with all that, I feel okay about putting these expectations inside of here. Whoops. Okay, let's see if that still runs successfully. Okay. Okay, by the way, I don't know why I did that like that. Okay. Visit tab, system logs, job, original job. Navigate to build, other job.build. Navigate to tab, system logs, job, other job, system log, HTTP request, job, original job, body, new system log content. And it does not show original jobs. System logs on the other jobs, um, on the other jobs system logs tab. And now that I'm saying that, I'm realizing that that's not exactly what the assertion says. Let's have two. Okay. Expect it not to have content. Well, I can just say original job dot system logs. I thought hard coded was clear, but maybe it's actually not. Okay. I expect that both of those will pass, but let's see. Oh, and I want to change these descriptions. Okay, I made some kind of mistake apparently. Other. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be other job, of course, not just other. All right. And we should say it shows the other jobs system logs. Okay. I'm actually going to reword this yet again. I'm going to say, no, actually, I'm going to keep that. So it does not show original job system logs on the other jobs system logs tab. And it shows the other job system logs on the other jobs system logs tab.
Yeah, it's a bit wordy, but it says what we want, what we mean, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
was
does.
just thinking that it's kind of a mouthful, but it does say what we
That's the
mean.
job. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I think this is at least an improvement. Because if we look at the previous version, this copy pasted test is kind of an indication. Like, that is hard to look at. Like, good luck figuring out what that's about. It took us a bit when we tried. So this is the new version. It's much clearer, I think.
Yeah, I think it definitely is clear, Yeah.
Hmm. Um, Something that I'm not completely satisfied with yet is the fact that these methods are just sitting right here in the same test, which isn't going to always work, I don't think, because we're going to want to reuse some of these in other tests. But at least as an intermediary step, um, um, this is okay. So I'm actually gonna take this test out because I was gonna work on this, but we're not working on it right now. We were working on this one, and I just want to commit that one. I'll review my changes real briefly. Okay, no surprises there. So commit that, say make test more understandable. Okay. Okay, so we have this test for visiting a different build, which we just worked on a bit. Now I have this other test for visiting a different job. So let's modify this in a similar way. Let's actually copy paste the entire thing. Okay, but we're not going to navigate to a different build. We're going to navigate to a different job. And I don't think we're going to have time to get all the way through writing this test, but we can at least get started. Okay, so we want to visit the same tab to start with, but then instead of navigating to a build, we want to navigate to a job. But we have an issue right off the bat because we have this visit tab method. We don't want to duplicate this method across two different tests. So let's put this somewhere else. Let's see, do we have some kind of helper? No, not yet. Okay, let's do this. And create a navigation helper. And I'm going to put all three of these things in there. Okay. And when I run this, it may well fail because we're not explicitly including the navigation helper. Oh, but it doesn't, because I guess it gets included just by virtue of the fact that it's in spec support. Okay. Makes me wonder why I'm explicitly doing these. Do I have to?
I think it's better to do it explicitly, right?
Yeah, I do like the explicit inclusion. I guess only if it's in a module namespace do we need to explicitly include it. Okay. For some reason, I feel fine about not explicitly including this one.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I feel that way. Um, but here, this is something a little bit different. System log HTTP request. So what did we have before? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'll put this in here. I still have mixed feelings about this, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, does that still run? Okay. I'm going to run my whole test suite locally real quick just to see what happens. Okay. Maybe I do want to make this explicit. Because why would I not? It seems consistent. Oh, something failed. Oh, that's our new test, I think. Yeah, it is the new test. No surprise that that failed. Okay, and then does this fail since I'm not explicitly including the helper? Yep. Okay. Okay. So I will add spec support. And I'll add this also. Okay. Well, let me review my changes. Okay, no surprises. Add navigation helper. Okay. Now we can come back to this new test yet again. Gonna have to include navigation helper. And we can kill these since they're now in navigation helper. Okay. We visited the system logs tab. And now we need to visit this sub tab. This is making me realize that my visit tab method name is not specific enough, maybe. Instead
Yeah.
of,
Which tab, isn't it?
yeah. Um, okay, so let's call this visit build tab. We're visiting this job path. Interesting. Um, is it significant that it's that first job? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, visit build tab. And then here we need visit build tab again. Okay, I'll run that. Okay. And then we want to say visit job tab. No, not visit, navigate to. saying, yeah, navigate to. Oh, and then this is too vague also. Navigate to build tab. And now I see that it's kind of weird that we're saying navigate to build tab, but then giving it a job instead of a build. Okay. Okay, but again, I don't want to distract myself with that concern right now. All right, let's run that again. Then I'll wrap up in just a second here. Okay, navigate to job tab. Not original job, but other job. Yeah. That will, of course, fail because we have no such method. I'm going to get rid of these expectations too, just so it doesn't confuse me. All right, and this is where we can pick up next time. Actually, I can commit some of these changes because they're independent of what we're about to do. And it'd be nice not to lump them in with these other changes. Let's get reset that. Okay, this is just a total refactor. Clarify helper method names. Okay. So now when we come back, we can see that we're working on this test and that when we run it, it fails because this navigate to job tab method doesn't exist. So that'll be a clue to us that what we need to do next is to create this navigate to job tab method.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks as always, Sanjeet, for joining me, and I'll see
No
you next
worries.
time.
Yep. See you next time. Bye bye.